Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi everyone, I'm Aisyah Ramadanti, a student in 3C. In this video, I'll share my personal experience using AI tools, particularly ChatGPT. And I also dive into 10 questions about how AI has impacted my learning and how it shaped my critical thinking skills. Okay, for the first question is, have you used AI tools like ChatGPT to assist with your English writing tasks? Can you give specific examples? I found ChatGPT to be a fantastic writing coach when I'm stuck on a particular point or feeling overwhelmed by a complex topic, and I turn to it for guidance. For instance, when I was writing an essay on the impact of climate change, I wasn't sure how to effectively introduce the topic. And I asked ChatGPT for suggestion, and it provided me with a few creative opening lines that helped me capture my reader's attention. And another way I've used ChatGPT is to refine my writing style sometimes. And my sentence can be a bit too formal or wordy. And I'll paste a paragraph into ChatGPT and ask it to suggest ways to make it more concise or engaging, and it's been particularly helpful in improving and flow the readability of my writing. Okay, so for the question number 2 is, in what way has AI supported your speaking practice in English, and how effective has it been for improving your spoken communication? I really love this question. ChatGPT has been an amazing tool for practicing my English speaking skills. Even though it's not an actual conversation with another person, one thing I do is simulate a conversation with it, such as practicing how to introduce myself or talk about specific topic like current events or literature. And for instance, if I'm preparing for a class presentation, I'll type out what I plan to say and ask ChatGPT to give feedback on how natural it sounds. And sometimes I'll even ask it to role play a conversation like I'm in an interview or discussing something casually with my friends. It's not the same as practicing with a real person, but it does help me get more comfortable with forming sentence quickly and thinking on my feet. I've noticed that I'm better at structuring my thought when I speak and more confident in my word choices. However, I still think it's important to balance this with a real conversation, as there's no substitute for real-time interaction and the nuances that come with it. Okay, so for the question number 3 is, how do you feel about the feedback you receive for AI tools like ChatGPT when working on English writing assignments? For the feedback I get from ChatGPT is mostly helpful, especially when it comes to correcting my grammar or improving sentence flow. For example, if I wrote a paragraph that feels clunky, I'll ask ChatGPT to reparse it, and it often makes it sound more professional or polished. I also appreciate that the feedback is instant, which is great when I'm working on a tight deadline. However, there are times when the feedback feels too generic. Sometimes when I'm writing something creative, like a personal essay, and I feel that ChatGPT suggestion can be a bit too formal or lose the personal touch I'm trying to maintain. In those cases, I use the feedback as a guide, but I'll tweak it and to keep my own voice and in the writing. Overall, I think the feedback is a great starting point, but I still trust my own judgment to make sure my work feels authentic to me. Question number 4. Have you noticed any improvement in your writing or speaking skills since you started using AI tools? If so, in what areas specifically? Yes, I've definitely noticed improvements, especially in my writing. One big change is how much more organized my writing has become, and before, sometimes I'm struggle with structuring my essays or keeping my arguments clear. Now I'm much better at creating outlines and making sure my points flow logically. And my grammar has also improved. ChatGPT has taught me to be more mindful of things like verb tense, constancy, and sentence variety. In speaking, I've noticed that I'm more confident in expressing myself. I used to hesitate more when trying to form sentences in English, but practicing with AI has made me quicker at thinking of the right words. And I'm still working on pronunciation and the fluency, but I definitely feel more comfortable speaking in both casual and academic settings. Question number 5. What challenge have you encountered when using AI tools for learning English? How did you overcome them? One of the main challenges I've faced is that AI doesn't always understand the context of what I'm writing. For instance, if I'm writing something more nuanced like personal a reflection or a creative piece, the AI's suggestion can sometimes feel a bit too robotic or lacking in emotional depth. To overcome this, I've learned not to take every suggestion as the final answer. Instead, I use the AI's feedback as a foundation and build on it with my own voice and ideas. Another challenge is that ChatGPT can sometimes oversimplify or overcomplicate things. For example, if I'm asking it to explain a difficult concept in a simple way, it might either make it too basic or still too complex. And when that happens, I try different prompts or do additional research to fill in the gaps. So, question number 6. In what ways have you used AI tools to develop your critical thinking skills, particularly when working on English writing or speaking tasks? AI has really helped me develop my critical thinking skills, especially when it comes to analyzing arguments or considering a different perspective. For example, when I'm writing an argumentative essay, I'll often ask ChatGPT to provide counter arguments to my points, and this forced me to think about my own position more deeply and anticipate possible objections. It's like having a debate with the AI, which pushed me to straighten my reasoning and make sure my arguments are well supported. It's also similar when I'm practicing speaking. I'll ask ChatGPT to challenge me with a follow-up questions or introduce new points to the conversation. And this keeps me on my toes and help me think more critically in real-time discussion. Question number 7. How do you explore and experiment with AI features to improve your English learning experience, especially in writing and speaking? I like to experiment with different ways of using AI by adjusting the type of prompts I give. For example, if I'm working on an essay, I might ask ChatGPT to rewrite a paragraph using more advanced vocabulary or to take a more formal tone. This helped me see how the different writing styles work. And I've also experimented with using AI to practice writing in different genres. One time I asked ChatGPT to help me write a dialogue between two characters in a story, which was a fun way to practice both writing and speaking. And for speaking, I've experimented with asking ChatGPT to simulate different scenarios, like practicing for a job interview or having casual conversation about a book I'm reading, about my boyfriend, and it helps me adapt to different speaking styles depends on the situation. Question number 8. What role do you think AI tools should play in language learning? Are they supplement or do you see them as integral to the process? I see AI tools as a valuable supplements to language learning, but not something that can replace traditional methods. They're incredibly useful for practice, especially when it comes to getting instant feedback on writing or practicing speaking when I don't have someone to talk to. However, I think it's important to combine AI with other learning methods like reading, writing essay, and having real conversation with people. AI can provide guidance, but it lacks the human elements like understanding, tone, or emotional nuances in communication. So, while AI tools are great for quick practice and feedback, I believe they should work alongside other forms of learning, not replace them. Question number 9. Do you think using AI tools help you think more critically about language, grammar, and communication, or does it sometimes limit your creativity? Why? I think it's a bit of both. One, on the hand, AI tools have helped me think more critically about grammar and sentence structure because they point out mistakes that I might not notice on my own. They've also made me more aware of different ways to parse ideas, which is great for expanding my vocabulary and improving my writing. On the other hand, I do think AI can limit creativity sometimes. Since AI tends to offer very logical, formulaic responses, it can push my writing in a more predictable direction, especially when I'm trying to be creative. I've learned to take AI suggestion as just that, suggestions. It's important for me to balance using AI with trusting my own creativity and voice, especially in more personal or creative writing tasks. So last question. What are your future goals for using AI to further enhance your English skills, especially in writing and speaking? How do you plan to continue using these tools? My future goal is to continue using AI to refine my writing, particularly in more advanced areas like academic writing or persuasive essays. I want to focus on crafting stronger and more self arguments and improving my ability to express complex ideas clearly. And for speaking, I like to use AI to practice more challenging discussion, like debating or discussing abstract concepts. And I think this will help me become more fluent and confident in high level conversation. And I also want to keep exploring new features in AI tools to see how they can help me in different areas of language learning. And I'm really curious to see how AI can be used in creative writing or even in preparing for a presentation or speeches. And overall, I plan to keep using AI as a way to push myself further while still balancing it with other learning methods. Thank you.